So let me get going here. So welcome everyone to the newbie coaching calls with me. My name is Amir Khan. So just to remind you, if you're new here, the format of these calls are they're exactly 40 minutes, and sometimes we have a topic that we choose and we work on that topic, or sometimes we have guests. Today, I am going to do a deep dive in our one of the markets that many of us are in, Toledo, Ohio. But before I start, I've started doing this. I think it's a little bit fun just to give a shout out to all the people who are here because I know you're taking your time to be here. So that's something I can do so I'm just going to read out the names that I can see because a lot of people who watch these recordings don't know who showed up on these calls. So I'm just going to read out your name. And I see Ben is here, Billy is here, Chris is here, Dana is here, Dennis is here, Emma is here, Eric and Mary is here, Felicia is here, a whole bunch of iPhones are here, Janet, I see Jason, I see Jay, I see Keith, and of course Major, Michael, another Michael, Patrick, Rachel, Ricardo, Robin, Rachel, Ron, Mike, Zach. Nice to see you all. All right. So before I start, I also want to let you know that every week we actually have recordings of these. The problem is during the week, this week especially, I was very busy, so I couldn't get the recordings up because I edit them and then I upload them. And so this week I was just very busy, so I have not been able to upload the video. So just be patient as I find time, I'll upload all the videos. So all the sessions are recorded. So we do have recordings of those. All right. So having said that, let me just get going. Just put a thumbs up if you can see my screen now. You should be able to see, right? Okay, perfect. All right. So today what we're doing is we are doing a market deep dive. And if you guys haven't seen the market deep dive the way I do it, I have just my way of doing it. I've done one other, I believe I've done it for Puria. So if you're ever curious about Puria and you want to know more about it, I use the same format. So I have my own format. All right. So I have like 6 or 7 points that I'm going to go through. And so just bear with me. Um, and I will have time towards the end to take questions. But just letting you know, if you have questions, you can raise your hand as early as now. Do not put your question in the chat. I don't follow that. And the call is only 40 minutes. So if I can get to your question, we will. All right. First, summary of Toledo, Ohio. Well, you may know that it is the fourth most populous city in Ohio. So there, other larger city, but it is the 85th most populous city in the United States. So originally, Native Americans, if you look at historically, Wyandotte tribe was here before the French came in and established a trading post in 1680. So it's a very, very old city. And so if you see this map here, you have the west side of Toledo and I would say the east side of Toledo divided by Maury River. And but the reason why I have this here is because I see a lot of newbies. They start looking at markets without having any context. How would you get a context? You would get a context by understanding the size of the market, right? So no two cities are exactly the same. So you have to understand what the population is, how big is the city, what is the inventory, how many homes are there. So those are the things that you have to know based on that you have some context, all right? So as of 2023, and by the way, some of the data that I have will not match. In some places, it may have slightly different numbers because when I do research, I find some sources were as of 2023, some sources are as of 2024, and so on. So the numbers are slightly different, but the idea is for us to get an idea, just have some context. All right. As of 2023, City of Toledo had a population of 265,000 with the urban population, which is the greater metropolitan area, close to 500,000, right? If you don't mind, please mute your mic. And then the most recent unemployment rate for Toledo was 5.3%. Now, what is important for us as people who are in this business of slow flip? Number one, did you know that the poverty level as of 2022, I don't know what the new numbers are, is as high as nearly 25%. That's quite high, right? A medium household income, now this varies. Obviously, this is 2022 data. I have another data that shows 60,000, so I know it's somewhere between 45 and 60,000. What other key statistics do we have? Now, do remember, we are in that very, very specific area of slow flip, which is we are looking for that one specific type of inventory, right? But this data is for the entire city. So these are high-end homes. These are, brand new homes and new construction homes as well. So this data is based on everything. I will go into specifics based on slow flips as well. All right. So median rental income of the entire city is about $1,200, and affordability is 33.191%, which is, if you think about it, very, very affordable. That's why, people always talk about, one of the most affordable places to live in Midwest, and also some markets in the South. Now, this is important. This is important for you to understand why some markets are good for slow flip. If you look at the growth stats, you do see a 8.87% appreciation. Look at the population growth, which is barely 1%. I mean, I'm here in Texas, and I can tell you, people have been moving to Texas consecutively for at least a decade or more, from California and New York, and ours is in double digits, big double digits. All right. So in that sense, you can have an idea that when the population growth rate is so small, it really is a negative growth, because I mean, you're not really adding anything to it. That affects the demand, housing demand, right? Unemployment is about, like I said, it's between 5.3 was in 2024. So I would say that's the most up to date. So what are the key takeaways from this? I would say, knowing that what the size of Toledo is, it is the fourth largest city within Ohio. On a national scale, it's still a very small city, right? And if you want to see a comparison, it's a comparable city would be Madison, Wisconsin. Where did I get this data? U.S. Bureau of Statistics, Data USA, Wikipedia, and Bigger Pockets. So this big graph in the middle is from Bigger Pockets. All right, so this gets interesting. This is very, very specific, and this is the reason why I'm doing this. So I did spend some time doing this, so bear with me. So I hope you can see that the river is right here where my cursor is. I don't know if you can see that. That's the river. And so this is the west side, and this is the, I would say, the east side. All right, so they are a total of 32 zip codes in Toledo. And I think we're only going to talk about the 16, which are standard zip code, because there is a PO box zip code, and then there are 11 unique zip codes. I'm not really sure what those 11 unique are, but we are focusing on those 16 standard zip codes, right? So based on my research, I actually will show you at the end two properties that I have in different zip codes for reference, and I'll share with you. I'm very transparent with my numbers are. I'll show you my numbers. All right. So on this right side are the zip codes with the I would say medium home values in that zip code. So for us, obviously, we want to stay away from home where the median value alone is over 100,000, right? So we want to look for those markets where there is potential, where the medium home prices are by itself. Like, look at this, 43605, 45,000 is medium home value, right? 43608 is another one, 41,694. There's some others as well, and so I've highlighted them here as well for you. So these are the best zip codes to consider. And I will actually show you. I did a search on Zillow to show you what is currently on the market for you to have an idea. Obviously, when you see this recording, it'll show different results. But as of now, in February 2025, this is what the data would be, right? Some of the zip codes right over on this side, these are also good potential zip codes to consider: 43604, 43610, 43612, and 43607. Again, I'm going by this data right here, what the home values are. By the way, this is the source right here, simplemaps.com. All right. So I'm going to build upon this. So based on this, let's start with one of the zip code, which is 43605. And just for your reference, again, this is the river. That's the west side. This is on the east side. So right on the east side, right at the border of Oregon, is this zip code. All right, this right here, I'm showing you right in. This is the area we're talking about. So this is the zip code 43605. This is important. What is the population of the city? So based on my research, about 24,000. How many homes are there? This is a little tricky one. I'll show you the way I figured this out. Again, this is not 100% accurate, but it's a good way to figure out what is the size of the market. So based on my research, about 9,000 housing units. So I try to take out the commercial unit, but that includes apartments and condos, right? And the medium home value in this zip code was 60,000. Again, this is based on two other sources. So just a rough idea. All right. So this is a very, very good zip code to look for in Toledo. Now, this is the tool I use. I use two tools, PropWire, which is free, and I use Zillow, which is also free. All right. So this is how I figure out what the inventory is. So when I use the word inventory, I'm talking about how many houses are there in this zip code. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this again for context, right? If you're comparing this with, for example, St. Louis, Missouri, well, there are millions of homes there. So it's a, or a zip code in St. Louis, Missouri. It could be a very big market. 100, 200,000 people live in a zip code or two zip codes. So you want to understand in that specific zip code, what is the population. So in this case, again, we have 24,000 people. And I found when I did this search, again, this is not 100% accurate. If you go in and put in the zip code and you just choose single family homes under property types and you just blind search, it will list everything that is on the tax record that is listed as a single family home. All right. So that gives us about just over 8,000 units, right? So 8,000 single family homes are in the zip code. And when I do a quick search on MLS for homes under 50,000, this was just yesterday, I found 4 results, which is not very exciting. But like I said, it varies. Sometimes I go in there and I find 10 listings. And some of them are under 30,000 also. So right now I see one at 26,000 already, another one at 35,000. If you can see this, this is from yesterday, by the way. All right. So when you're looking for slow flips, this is just the first thing, right? Which is the price point. You want to look at, okay, what is the valuation? How much can we buy them at? The other big part is what are the rents, right? So that's the next step. So we are still in 4.3. Well, I'll do that afterwards. So I'm going to do 2 zip codes, the same thing. So now I'm going to talk about the next zip code. This one is 43608. And this one is, there's your river that divides Toledo. So it's right on this side, further up, right? 43608. This also has lower average home values. Based on my research, about 14,000 people in this city. Again, when I did the research, I found 5,000 housing units, and on the next screen, I'll show you exactly how many I found. And the median home values in this zip code is about $55,000. So did the same thing. Go to PropWire. In PropWire, if you go to property types and do single family homes, it will tell you approximately how many tax records are there for that are designated as single family home. Now remember, sometimes what happens is, and this is happening in a lot of cities, is that house burns down, right? On the tax record, it will still show single family home. The house may be burned partially and the structure is there. It's still single family home. Sometimes the city will come and clear up the whole lot, right? So it's a lot. And for a little while, I believe it'll still show as a single family home. So remember, nothing is perfect. We're just trying to do an estimation. So what is available in zip code 43608? 14,000 people live here, over 5,000 homes. A quick search on MLS. Look at this. We found 13 listing under $50,000. This one right here, the first one is I don't know if this is the same house. It looks very similar. It can be the same house. This is a different zip code, but it looks very similar. This one is listed at 20,000. Another one at 45,000. So there's plenty of opportunity in the zip code as well. Makes sense? So like I said, I'm using two tools. Both are free, Rockfire and Zillow, right? All right. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand on go into Zoom and choose. Is it chat or is it major? Is it what do they have to choose? I forgot.
Uh, to raise their hand, just down on React, click
React.
the
That's correct.
it's a heart shape.
Got it.
Click that and raise your hand.
Got it.
And then
Got it. Yeah,
I
mine
was
doesn't show right now because
just
I'm
for
in
the
there.
newer students, just because the prices are listed at 45,000, lowball offers are, we make a lowball offer like 20,000.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. We'll go into questions in just a moment. All right, so next one is let's talk about rents. So that's the second part of the equation, right? Once we know, okay, what is available. Well, before we even go any further, we want to know what the average rents are in each market, right? So again, these are the two that I'm comparing, 43605 and 43608. So in 43605 in Toledo, Ohio, the average rent is $820 as of February 2025. According to data, it is a increase of $70 from the previous month. So the rental range, this is what we're interested in. We want to know. But remember, this is one bedroom. It is one. It is two bedroom, one bath, three bedroom, one bath. It's everything, right? So the rent ranges from $599 to $1,450. Now, when I did the research at this time, there were 63 rentals in the market in this zip code, right? Again, that's just for reference, right? You want to know if by the way, just for context, have you seen there are some listings that come for sale on our forum as well, and you may search on MLS and you find a really good looking house, but the entire city has a population of 100 people, right? And if the city population is 100 people, how many homes are in the entire city? If there are 50 homes, well, how many rentals do come on the market? So that's why I'm showing this. The context is very important. You have to understand the size of the market before you can make a decision. Well, should I be going there if I have a vacancy? What are the chances that I will be sitting on that vacancy forever, right? So you need to know if it's an active market or not. So there are currently 63 for rents. They're available in this zip code. Affordability, like I said, average rent is $820. And so it is 59% lower than the national average. We already know this, that Toledo is a very affordable place to live in. Anyway, okay, so this is the first zip code, 43605. Next zip code is 43608. The rent range in this zip code is between 500 to 2100, which means there are some maybe bigger homes, maybe high-end homes, and they do rent for that much. All right, just to have an idea. But as you can also see, there's also 500 as well. How many rentals were there in this zip code? There were 55 rentals available when I searched just yesterday, and the average rent was $1,000 in this market, and which is 50% lower than the national average, right? So it's very affordable. Okay. Now, these two are my properties. One is in a zip code that we didn't discuss, but I still wanted to share them with you. And I'm sharing this with you because of two reasons. One is to understand that properties like this, you can buy them all the time. By the way, both of these properties, I bought them via the MLS. I bought a property yesterday on the MLS, also for $25,000. When people think that you don't find these properties, they're there. You just have to find them. You just have to do your research. All right, so the first one is to 402 Elder Drive. You can actually look it up. Big home, 1,140 square feet, three bedroom, one bath. Obviously, it's not in perfect, pristine condition. It needed some work, but generally, everything works. There's a breaker box, there's a furnace, there's a water heater, the roof doesn't leak. Those are the things that I look for, right? So, this home, I was able to buy it at 22,000. I sold it at 76,000 with $3,000 down, and it is currently rented at $900 a month. Uh, Good numbers, works really well. But I do want to show you the right side, which is the key takeaways, which is important. That's why I'm showing this for you. Is that sometimes the estimate in the market is going to be very close to what it ends up being. So in this case, it was quite close. When I did the research using Zillow for rental manager to have an idea what the rent would be for this kind of a home, I got 922. And so it ended up being 900, which is pretty close, right? But look at the second one. This house I have in zip code 43604. I bought it for 24,500. Three bedroom, one bath, even larger home, 1,296, nearly 1,300 square feet. I sold it for $76,000, 3,000 down, same. But I had actually the first time I rented this because the numbers were, look at the right side here. Zillow showed me the number to be as high as $1,200. I was able to actually rent it the first time at $1,000 because I was going by those numbers. But what happens is I found that it's unaffordable for some of these people at that price point, especially if the home needs work. They're putting money in and repairing the home, and so they may just not have the budget. So we had to evict them. And the one that I have in there are paying $800. They've been on time and everything is good. So I'm just showing this to have an idea that numbers are there just for your reference. Okay, at some point you will learn things with experience as you get better. Don't blame anybody for this. You are the person, you're the one doing it's your business. You have to take the initiative doing the due diligence, which is running the numbers and then making a judgment. Well, is this number realistic? What is the worst that can happen? So for me, what I do is when I look at Zillow, I always look at the range and I usually go by the lowest possible rent that they are suggesting. That's my worst case scenario. If at that number my thing will not cash flow, well, then there's a problem. I would rather have, even with that, a little bit cash flow, which means in a more realistic terms, you might get something better, which means you will definitely cash flow, right? So that's that. That's all I have, and I am going to stop sharing and I can take questions. I see there's only one question. So that's it. We'll be done quickly. No, I'm just kidding. If you have more questions, you can raise your hand now. Like I said, this call is only 40 minutes. So let's start with Zach. Go ahead, Zach. Unmute
Hey,
yourself.
Amir.
Hey.
Yeah, happy last day, and thank you so much for sharing this market. It has been kind of intriguing to me. So I think one the question that I want to ask is, two-part questions, right? Number one, like compared to the states that we typically operate in, Indiana and Missouri, in terms of landlord friendliness, where does the Ohio stand? That's number one. And number two is like, do we have enough sufficient infrastructure that we have, like walks on the ground or like failures in Ohio month.
Very good question. Yes. So to answer your question, number one, they are. Yes, we have boots on the ground in Ohio. Well, first part was that whether it's landlord friendly. Yes, it is. I did an eviction. I've done one eviction, so the one that I showed you, and it took, I think, 3 weeks or something like that. It was very, very quick. So yes, they are good, but that all depends on how good you are with your paperwork, right? If you are not filing, you're not sending them notices, because as soon as you file, your attorney, if you're using an attorney, is going to ask you, hey, did you inform them based on the law that you have to give them notification? If you didn't, well, guess what? Your clock starts again. You got to do it again. So you can't blame the state or the county by saying, oh, it took me 2 months. Well, it took you 2 months because you didn't do your work, right? So as soon as they're 30-day, well, actually, in my case, what I do, I follow very strictly. As soon as they're 10-day late, that's how my CFDs are. I actually send them a notification of forfeiture that this, they're already breaking the contract, and if they don't cure it, I give them another 10 days. And if they don't cure it by then, that's when I file. Because per the CFD, that's the time that they have before the contract for deed turns into they turn into a regular tenant, and then I can actually evict them. Now, I know some people in our community give people more time. There's nothing wrong with it. You can do more time. The thing is, if you give them more time and they're more behind, so if they're behind 2 months, now remember, it also is harder for them to catch up on 2 months payment. Number one. Number two, it's also expensive for you. You lost 2 months of revenue because you're waiting, right? So it's a personal decision on that. But to answer your question, yes, it's landlord friendly. Number two, eviction is fast. And for boots on the ground, the best person you can actually search in our community. We have the forum, the drive where we have all the forums, right? There's a boots on the ground. So if you look in Ohio, we have a member in our community, I believe Eric, and I use him. I've used him for both of my properties, even to do the walkthrough, boots on the ground, take pictures, and all those kind of stuff. So, yep,
Awesome. Thank you, Amir.
sure. Next up, Janet, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Yes, hi. Thank you for all this information. I live in Ohio, so I'm interested in Ohio markets, but I'm brand new and I have no real estate experience, so I'm a bit overwhelmed. I did hear that Ohio is a state where the laws vary from city to city and it's not statewide, and that in some cities you might be considered that you're a landlord, you might be required to do repairs to a property by the city. So where does one go to research these laws? I'm interested in the cities of Akron and Cleveland and Canton, but I'm not sure what I would have to do to research the laws.
Yeah, Ohio doesn't have variation as far as I know. I'm only in Toledo, so I can only tell you about Toledo. But I thought you were asking about Illinois, and that is true in not Illinois. Okay, so in Ohio, I don't know. So I'm only in Toledo, so I know only about Toledo. But I can tell you Eric, who is listed under Boots on the Ground. He lives right at the border, somewhere in Ohio, and he knows quite a bit about the state. So you can just reach out to him, just send him a message and say, hey, I have these questions and I like to do research, and would you give me some update? And they'll be happy to help you with that.
Okay, because I live not too far from Cleveland, which is probably the second or third biggest city in Ohio, and it seems like a lot of distressed properties, and but someone was saying it wasn't favorable for this model because you could be required by the city to do repairs because you'd be viewed as a landlord. Anyway, that's just what I heard.
That exactly. And so you want to research that first before you go in. But there were some other reasons. I remember there was a wholesaler that reached out to me. They actually buy and sell a lot of properties. And I did research and I forgot this was about a year ago. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of distressed properties, but either the rents weren't high enough or there were some other issues as well. So I was very reluctant to go into that market. So yeah, you should do research before you go in. I just don't know because I'm only in Toledo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next up is Dennis. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hello. Hi,
Hi.
Amir. How you
Hey,
doing?
how are you?
Good. Hey, I'm trying to raise private capital, private money lenders. Got a couple slow flips, and paid. I self-funded those, but I need to scale, so I need private money. So I've been talking to anybody and everybody. Just kind of following suggestions from Scott and yourself at the last summit. But one idea I was thinking about is I wanted to get your suggestion on building a website for private money lending, so I could drive people to. Is that something that's you'd suggest?
Yes, no. I feel that what really will drive this is a conversation. So
Mhm.
you have to build more on the conversation efforts, like
Mhm.
outreach, finding people,
Mhm.
and then having the website as something that is showing what you do. So that's like your business card online.
Yeah.
but that is not going to convert people. Like, I mean, I tell you, I get people from my website all the time, but they're not there just because they found my website and they say, oh,
Right.
wow, suddenly, oh, private money. Yeah, I'm going to do this. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of things that go on before that decision is made. So, for example, just last week, somebody reached out to me. I don't know this person, but I met him on another network, and he is a private money lender already. And we just had a little conversation, and I said, please check out my website. I did describe to him what I do, and I said, for more details, you can look at the website, and then let me know if you're interested. So what happened was there were 3 steps. So that was first step that I did the intro, kind of talked, and I guided him to the website. He looked at the website, and then he still wanted to do a conversation. So that's
Right.
not the end of it. And after this conversation, he has more questions. So we
Right.
may actually do another, and so it really depends. And you were there at the summit. What I use, my system is very specific. I do these very elaborate workshops. They're about an hour long, and I answer like 30 minutes of questions like you guys are asking. There are people like this, and they're asking self-directed IRA questions, and I take them live. So I do a lot of these, and after those people then set up appointments with me again. So she's that they went through this 1 hour, and then they're talking to me. So it depends on what your goal is and how you're going to bring them. I guess you can use the funnel. What is your funnel?
Exactly how you explained is what I was thinking. I, talking to everybody, developing that relationship, planting the seeds. And I just kind of wanted maybe have, like you said, after talking to somebody, maybe say, hey, you can check out my website if you need more information. That might explain things. And then keep following up. But I just wanted like an example of, 'cause I use RA Black Book, so I can use their templates to build different websites. And I got the Slow Flip in a Box package. So I think they're still in the process of building Slow Flip templates. So one of the things I'm gonna request is like a private money site template. But I just want to kind of get an example of one. Do you have any suggestions?
So in our community, there are people who have done that. So if you actually search or you ask people, actually, if you search, they will come up, and people have listed their website, and you can go and check them out.
Okay.
My
Yeah, I
only
just wanted to know.
Yeah, my suggestion is that, like what you're saying, I would not have an all-inclusive website. Like I do wholesale and I do this and I do private. Yeah, just be very specific, and that is more effective than broad.
Yeah, I just wanted something just specifically private money lending, and that was it. Just to, like you said, like a informational. Like if somebody wants to, if I talk to somebody and they're kind of interested, I say, hey, go check this out, and on their own they go and check out the site, and it has more information, and then they want to come back and talk more, like you said. That's kind of what I wanted.
Yep, that's very doable. So like I said, I would put on the forum, and let's see if somebody, voluntarily they just put up their website. Usually they would, so they'll just share it with you. You can check out mine at
Okay.
dreamprime.com.
And what's yours?
It's right here on the screen, dreamprimehomes.com, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right,
Gotcha.
cool. We
Thanks.
have about 4 minutes left, so I'll try to take as many questions. So Eric and Mary, go ahead and unmute
Really
yourself.
quick, I believe I heard that Cynthia Cox has a list of all the forms. If she has one for late notices, can that be used for any state?
No, I would be careful with that. I mean, you can use the template, but I would see what you may know what has happened in the last couple of months, right? Some people have gotten burnt because they didn't do their own due diligence. So at the end, anytime when you're talking about a legal document, that's there for your benefit. But at the end, this is your business. You are responsible for ensuring that everything is legal in the state you're using it in. So whether you have to hire an attorney, whether you have to run it by an attorney, or whether you hire an attorney and have them create the documents, either way, that's the right way to do it. So these are there for your benefit, but I would be very careful just using them as is and assuming that it'll work,
All right, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so last question, Mike. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
Hey, question for you. Does anyone have an example of like a white labeled slow flip, like investment package or someone to for private money? The guys that I'm catering to are going to basically say, Mike, thanks for the information. I don't need you to see, I'll do it myself. So I'm not trying to give away the secret sauce or the secrets to allow someone else to come along and really do it without me, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
It does, but at the end, you can't control everyone. I can tell
Oh,
you
no,
that
no. I know I can't, but I'm talking big players here. Like
yeah.
they probably come in and be the hard money guy for every flip that's done.
So let me tell you this. I when I work with private money lenders and I work with custodian companies, when I do these workshops, I never use the word slow flip. I just tell them I have a system and then I describe the system. So that's what I would do. So you can absolutely do that, but you're absolutely sure. I would
Yep.
do the
Okay,
best
that's
you
what I've
can.
been doing. Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't know if I
yeah,
was missing something.
yeah, absolutely. And you can check out my website if you like, just for an idea. The web URL is right here.
I will. Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Like I said, just please understand, everybody is a grown-up. You are responsible for making your own decision. You have to do your own due diligence. So while there is a lot of information in the community, there are documents, there are legal documents, there are so-called legal documents. But remember, there's just no way for one source to have everything that is legal in every county, in every state. It's just not going to happen, right? So it comes down to you being, doing your due diligence. Yes, you can ask the fillers. The fillers are the one who are actually on the ground doing this work. So when you do hire a filler, ask them questions. Ask them, hey, how many have you filled? How long have you been filling? Do you know all the county laws? Do you know what is required? And if you feel there is a little hesitation, then make a judgment that that may not be the right person for you to work with, right? So don't just assume just because they're filling, they know everything. Because at the end, it is your slow flip. And if something ends up going wrong, well, guess what? You're the one who signed the document, right? So that's why it comes down to that. So that's what I would do in this case. All right, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll see you all next week. Have a good week. Bye.